I absolutely hated school. I hated it with a passion. And so I was in special ed all the way from second grade till I dropped out of high school. And I haven't had any type of degree except for my GED when I got it when I was like 25. I wasn't in special ed because, well, I guess my weakness is comprehension. And I've always felt like reading was completely boring to me. I hated it. I still hate it. I think it's so boring. I read on X or whatever, but I don't like to read like long-winded books. I don't like it. It's so boring. I don't really retain much. I've noticed from Audible, I retain so much more from listening to podcasts or what have you. I retain a lot more information when I can divert my attention to something else, whether it's at work or playing a video game while listening to an audiobook or a podcast. Reading a book is just like, I did a reading test. Okay, see how fast I can read. And the average person can read 200 words per minute with a 60% comprehension level or comprehension rate. I did the test and it's 700 words per minute with a 50% comprehension level. So essentially I'm on par of like 600 words per minute, maybe 550 words per minute. But what I think is happening is I read so fast that my brain can't comprehend it. It's just too quick. And then I did multiple IQ tests. My IQ is around 1.7, about 1.7, 1.10, something around there. The average person's IQ is around 100. So obviously it's not my intelligence that was the problem. For me being in special ed, I think it was mostly because of all the moving around I did as a kid. I moved around every single grade. In grade school, I moved to a different school, 3 different schools in second grade. So that's, when you put 2 and 2 together, they put me in special ed in second grade, and I went to 3 different schools in second grade. I mean, I guess you can see why I was behind. Basically, I was just behind everybody, but it's pretty clear why I was behind my classmates. I found school so boring. I really did. I hated it with a passion. I'm sitting here being taught math and here, write out, how did you come to that equation? Write it out your work. You won't always have a calculator in your pocket, and I'm recording with a calculator right now. They didn't know the future. They figured that I'd be writing things out for the rest of my life. But my point is, things evolve. And I'm sitting here like how I do math. It's like if you do like 568 plus 327. I probably forget. But what I do is I round up. So I'll either subtract or round up to make it an even number. Then I'll add that number very quickly together, and then I'll add the rest to it. I don't sit here and like go through it one by one. That's how I do math. And like you're so limited in school. The school system, from what I'm hearing, was created to manufacturing people. You go to work every day in the same box, same. It's just like conditioning you to go into the factory. Well, factories are going to be obsolete when it comes to human labor pretty soon. And it's kind of like it's like when I'm on X and people are like making fun of my grammar, which I understand. My grammar ain't the best. I'm dyslexic. So like some of the stuff I say, and then like the autocorrect with the misspellings, because I type so fast. I'm just typing so quickly. I don't read all my messages, all my replies. I just throw it out there. But and people like, I understand but they should be able to at least make out what I'm trying to talk about. But like they correct you like they're your elementary teacher or your English teacher. It's like, why don't I care about learning how to fix a car? I've always had the thought of, I see technology progressing so quickly, so rapidly, that being able to fix a car in the old ways is going to be obsolete. With the combustion gas car, I just felt like it was pointless for me to learn how to fix it. I was never interested in it. It just seemed kind of like learning how to break a horse or ride a horse or maintain a horse back when cars were coming out. That's what it feels like to me nowadays. So like, yeah, I could work on my grammar for sure. And I don't think that my grammar will ever be 100% on point because of my dyslexia. But what will happen is like, at some point, when you put something in X, the AI is gonna filter and correct all your mistakes, all your punctuation, all your grammar, 100% before it gets sent out, like an instantaneously. So it's kind of like, yeah, I can learn how to better my grammar, but like, what does it really matter to waste my time on that? I think that my speech is okay. I think my talking skills are okay. I mean, people are way better at talking than me, but it's just like, I don't just think of right now and it's gonna stay the same forever. I think of like, things are gonna innovate. This is gonna innovate, and I don't want to waste my time on certain aspects if it's just gonna be automated away anyway. I would rather learn other things, interesting things. Like, I've learned so much this past year, whether it was about the Constitution or about George Washington. Oh man, there's so many. I have so many audiobooks I've went through this year, listening to them at work. The Fourth Industrial Revolution by Klaus Schwab, which is one of my favorite books, honestly, because I'm probably more progressive than most people, and people view me as ultra conservative. I'm a very pragmatic person, so when it comes to family and money, I'm ultra conservative. But when it comes to other things like lifestyle and what have you, like I'm like me. I've always, maybe it could be a little less than 3 months. I mean, that was the general consensus of most people back in the 90s. Is 3 months is okay. I don't believe in just completely outright banning abortion. I come from the aspect of when people talk about abortion, it's kind of like, why aren't people trying to engage in safe sex? Like, why are they not protecting themselves? Why do they have to go to that point of having to have an abortion? Like, why are we having almost 1 million abortions a year or whatever? Why are people that irresponsible? And aren't they worried about other STDs? So I don't care what other people do in their bedrooms, as long as like you got consenting adults. I don't care if it's 50 adults doing their thing, as long as children aren't involved and they're all consenting adults. I don't care what people do. I don't care if people have polygamous relationships. I don't care. It don't bother me. No, I think that people who have those, engaged in those types of lifestyles, it's probably better to separate from people who are more conservative. And so you go live those crazy lifestyles somewhere else, so you don't expose other people to that they don't want to be exposed to. But that's culture, and I think that culture should be separate. I don't think culture should all be mixed together. I think that creates tension myself. I don't think that's good. You can say cult-like, whatever, but I'm all for like non-violence. I'm vehemently. Sometimes I can't pronounce words correctly. I know the meaning. I am against war. I've always been against war. So I want to live in a world where people are non-violent and civil. That's what I want. I don't want to have to live in an environment where I'm always having to look over my shoulder, or what have you. So, like, anyway, the education system is outdated completely. And I think the best thing for them to do is to, I think that people need to teach their own kids. I think we need to provide an environment where one person working 40 hours, whatever job that is, should be able to take care of a family. And I don't understand the sentiment of fast food isn't a real job. Well, it is a real job, and I understand like the rights that they talk about. Well, it was created for like a second job for people, or for teenagers. Well, we're not in the 50s no more, and these companies are making a hand over fist, and there's a lot of demand, so that's a real job. If companies can't provide a living for their employees, then they shouldn't be a company. They shouldn't exist. That's just my opinion. If the government has to subsidize their company with giving welfare to their employees because they don't want to like provide them with health insurance, or and health insurance is a joke nowadays anyway, or they don't want to provide them enough to survive. Now, when I'm talking about like the fast food, and I understand like the prices go up tremendously, well, then I guess people need to figure out another skill. You know what I mean? I guess it will cut down on the demand, and there won't be as many overweight people, so people will cook for themselves. Fast food is very unhealthy. But like every job should be able to at least provide for that person who works it. I mean, if you have a family, you definitely don't want that one income. You don't want that just to be off of fast food. But we need to provide an environment, a family-friendly environment, so one person can work, making enough money to provide for that family, so that mom or the dad, whatever, can stay at home and homeschool their kids. The whole notion of pawning your kid off to the public school like it's daycare, like I had to do basically when my kids got into kindergarten, it shouldn't be. And this has happened more and more because you have more single parents, more broken homes. And this whole society is so anti-family. It's unbelievable. Families just like move away from each other. I've already talked about this, but it's not a family-friendly environment. And that's what we should be doing, is family-friendly. I think that kids need to learn specific things when they're young. And then once you get into high school, it should be more about like creative and trying to figure out what you like. Trying different things out instead of sitting here learning like advanced English or advanced math when you might never even use it. What's the point? I'm just wasting my time just to earn these credits to graduate. Well, how about we like get these kids ready so they can pass a standard test by the time that they get into 9th grade. Like a GED test, and then once they pass that, like they can do whatever. You know, if they want to be a journalist or whatever, they can take English classes. Like, you don't have to go to a building to learn anymore. You can learn. You could be self-taught. You can learn whatever the hell you want, basically off the internet. MIT has all their lectures and has their courses all online for free. Like, education should be just completely free. Like, people put stuff out there for social cred, like this, to try to either express their opinion or tell it like it is. You can learn whatever you want at this point. I think a lot of people don't use this to learn, but there's a balance, you know. It's like, I just think our education system needs to be completely reformed. And, you know, I think that maybe kids should have to go out there and work like, for instance, one of my kids is 18. He just turned 19. So, like, I got him into the factory, the manufacturing. Like, we work for a food distribution center, right? And it's horrible. It's definitely horrible. And why I did this is because not only is he being able to save a lot of money for himself, but he's learning how bad it sucks. So go learn a skill, or should be doing dumb jobs like this for the rest of your life. You could either learn a skill, which, like a trade, so then you can tell other people what to do, show them what to do, or whatever, instead of being told what to do and being told you have to work. You're mandatory overtime. So them going through the suffering is going to be an incentive to wake up and be like, I can't be messing around. Kids nowadays, they can't mess around, man. They can't be, and a lot of them are. They need to get their act together right now, because the world in the future, it's looking pretty harsh. It already is harsh. Kids can't buy a house. You know, it's extremely expensive. Our government will not stop printing money, which is a killer for the middle classes and the working class. For the rich people, it's great. Rich people love it because their debts it gets rid of their debt a little bit, and their assets go up in price, so like they don't lose out on anything. But, you know, like the working class or whatever, they can't afford assets. You know, they're over here slaving away, and then trying to take care of their family. They're not concerned about looking at like different stocks daily and seeing what's going to go up, what's going to go down. Like, you know, So yeah, that's all I have to say is, like, we need to reform the school system and get out of this whole concept of like, oh, you have to go to this and do this. Like, yeah, for some certain things you have to go to college, but you don't have to go to college to learn everything. Then you got to go to college for like lawyers and doctors and stuff like that. But that's even going to be automated. You know, like, they're not going to need as many doctors because of robotics and AI in the future. The same thing with lawyers. I don't need to go and talk to a lawyer if I have a lawyer AI chatbot talk. I'd be asking questions for free. Maybe they have a subscription I have to pay or whatever, or like a one-time deal. But like, I don't need to go and talk to a lawyer and then have to worry about paying 15 minutes of their time just to get like one email that takes them like 2 minutes to write. You know, and it's like, we're innovating, and that's what people have to understand is like, things are going to be different if we keep on going. Technology, like, if it keeps advancing, it's going to be in a completely different place than it is right now. And we're not going to need a lot of humans to do labor. It is what it is, and that's great. That's what I want. I don't want humans to be slaves. It's the whole point of my name of my enslaved ones. We're enslaved by the dollar. Yeah.